I love movies. Movies are straight up magical. They're like the only thing that can make you feel every spectrum of like human emotion. And sometimes a 2 hour sitting. They are absolutely one of humanity's like greatest inventions we've ever done. But there is a way to enhance just about every movie ever made. And that is by taking a very mild dose of LSD first. And I'm not talking like a fry your brain amount. We don't need like ego death here to watch a movie. I'm talking a very calm between 150 and 250 UG. Like, that's it. You do that, and movies are perfect. It's really just enough to get some like mild visuals, nothing like how movies portray LSD. It's not generally like that unless you're taking like 700 UG or something and trying to like blow your fucking brain open. But only retards do that. There's no need for that. You take a mild, chill 150 to 250 UG and you can just sit back and watch as every movie becomes 100 times more vivid. All the emotions hit you 100 times harder. You become more engrossed than you even knew was like possible. So, through my life, I've watched quite a few movies on LSD. And a lot of times, when you like try to look up like, what movie should I watch? A lot of people first off say, go out into nature. Fuck that, that's gay. That's boring. Nature fucking sucks. Don't do that. Stay inside in your nice like climate controlled house and watch some movies. But when you are looking at movies, you're going to get a lot of suggestions that like kind of I think are supposed to focus on the visual elements, like, which is important, but you'll get things like Enter the Void or The Holy Mountain, or surprisingly you'll get a lot of Speed Racer, or maybe even like Cat in the Hat. Something kind of like wacky and over the top. You'll also get a lot of animated films, which do look great. Anything by Miyazaki, Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Redline especially, fantastic. And you'll get like other classic stuff like Fantastic Planet or the Pink Floyd Wall movie or something. But I'm here to say a lot of those are like, from my experience, not the best things you can watch. And some of the best movies might not be ones you really expect. So I put together a list of like my 3 absolute favorite films I've seen on LSD. And I could make a couple of these down the road if people enjoy these. But these are, in my opinion, the 3 most quintessential films to watch when tripping balls. And like every list you'll find will leave these out. And I don't know why, because all of them hit perfect on LSD. Like I said, most movies do, but these movies particularly are like they were made for it. So yeah, let's go ahead and just jump right on into it. With the first one, we have Ran, the 1985 masterpiece by the true greatest of all time, Akira Kurosawa himself. The film begins with Oh, and forgive me now, this film has a bunch of extremely Japanese names, and I am terrible at pronunciation, but I'll try my best. The film begins with Lord Hidotora, an aging and powerful warlord, resting with his 3 sons, Taro, Jiro, and Saburo, after a hunt. Hidotora announces he's retiring and will divide his domain among them. For those that don't know, the story's like heavily based off of Shakespeare's King Lear. There's a lot of similarities between the two, but I'm not super familiar with King Lear myself, so I won't be making too many of them. This is, of course, though, Lord Hidotora's greatest mistake, showing weakness to the snakes that are his children already ready to pounce. But he unfortunately declared publicly that upon retiring, Taro, the oldest, will receive his first castle and leadership of the clan, while Jiro and Saburo will receive the second and third castles. In return, all sons must support Taro's rule and maintain unity while he gets to retain honorary title and a small group of men and consorts. Saburo, however, questions the wisdom of dividing the power. He bluntly tells his father this plan will only lead to conflict because Hidotora gained his empire through violence. Hidotora, angered by this, disowns Saburo, and Saburo leaves with Fujimaki, a visiting lord who respects his honesty, and one of Hidotora's vassals who stood up for Saburo. I don't want to continue giving away too much of the movie, but that's essentially the setup. From here, the story will continue that upon Hidatoro living at his first son's castle, the son will be tired of his men being so noisy and kick him out at behest of his wife, who will eventually learn was a victim of Hidatoro's war in the past. Throughout the film, you'll essentially see Hidatoro move from son to son and then eventually be homeless, living with nothing but his guard. One of the reasons I think this movie is so good on LSD is because you can really see, and I will say sometimes it can be a little like unnerving because the way they paint his face is so deep, is the best way to show it or say it. But you can really like kind of feel the anguish as he's going mad, and they just really capture a certain essence and emotion that's hard to describe. But on LSD, you kind of feel it down to your bones. It's kind of incredible. Also, more importantly than anything, and the main reason you should watch this film, is it is quite possibly the most beautiful looking film ever made. I would maybe say it's tied with Barry Lyndon. Those are the only two films I would ever say that perfectly capture the essence of looking like every frame is a painting. And I know that expression can get used a lot, but truly in Barry Lyndon and Ran especially, as you can just see some of these shots, literally every single frame is just a beautiful portrait. The colors are vivid in a way that I've never even seen in film before. It almost reminds me of film shot in VistaVision, but with like the saturation turned up, I believe is how you would describe that. It's truly remarkable, and like, I don't think any other director has ever gotten close to pulling off something so incredible looking. Except for Stanley Kubrick with Barry Lyndon, which also, although it has a different tone because it's going for a different style of painting, also has the same effect where every frame truly looks like a painting. And also a good, like, that's not on this list, but another good one to watch on LSD if you ever want. The Rise and Fall of Barry Lyndon is a incredibly emotional journey and well worth the watch as well. Next up, this one might be a little bit of a hear me out, because a lot of people's first instinct, especially on LSD, is to be a little repulsed at first glance of this movie. And I want to throw out, though, Alita Battle Angel. I know her eyes might be a little freaky at first. I'm not denying that. The first time I tried to watch this movie, I had to turn it off because they were truly freaking me out. But I powered through the second time I tried, and I was met with one of the most incredible cinematic experiences of all time. This is truly, even though it's not James Cameron's film, this is James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez's masterpiece. This is such a great adaptation of one of the best cyberpunk mangas of all time. It's kind of a perfect fusion of volume 1 and 2 with a little bit of 3 sprinkled in, with a few things changed to fit the movie. Some I'm not too crazy about. And fair warning, I'll probably end up spoiling a little bit of the movie and especially the manga, but I just want to yap about it some. For those who don't know, let me give you the general premise. So, to start this story off, we have Dr. Ito, who is looking through a giant scrapyard of a town called Iron City. And above Iron City floats a giant floating city, like floating in the sky, called Zalam. Zalam has these huge trash chutes coming down and just pours all its trash onto the earth. And that trash is kind of what's made up Iron City. In Iron City, we'll see cybernetics, like insane levels of cybernetics, even surpassing stuff like Cyberpunk, because this is like one of the truest cyberpunk stories. It's one of the classics. It truly is. It should be mentioned right alongside Akira and Ghost in the Shell, because it's just as like pivotal to the genre as them. But anyways, this story basically is about Dr. Ito finds a girl who in the scrapyard who's a cyborg, and her brain's still perfectly preserved. So he takes her home and fixes her up. We eventually find out she was from Mars. At some point far in the past, there was a lot of floating cities all over the world, but an interplanetary war between Mars and Earth left all of them except Ceylon crashed. Through this story, we kind of see Alita discover herself and regain her memories. And we also get to see her in some of the coolest fights of all time. In the manga, it's Mukaku, but in the movie, his name is Grushka. And the fight she has with Grushka, there's like one scene where they perfectly pulled it from the manga, and it is mind bending. I know a lot of this movie might sound weird to see on LSD because, like, you kind of, I wouldn't quite say horrific, but some truly bizarre cybernetics people have in this movie because it is like a very heavy cyberpunk story and a lot of like people. And not only that, it's a world that's like fully embraced cybernetics. There's a lot of people like Alita herself. She's just a brain in like a complete robot body. Her face and stuff we see might have been modeled after her actual face at one point, but it's 100% cybernetic through and through except for her organic brain. So a lot of things in this might seem at first glance kind of weird to watch on LSD, and it is intense, but that intenseness kind of is the best part. The fights are really dynamic and they're pretty frequent. The pacing in general for this movie is great. This is like, so it's not a live action adaptation of an anime, although there is an anime, and it takes some parts from that, but it's more a live action adaptation of the manga. And I kind of said it earlier, for those that aren't aware, this was James Cameron's movie for like ever that he wanted to make, but he was too busy directing the Avatar movies to direct this. So he like hired Robert Rodriguez to direct it and then kind of, I'm not going to say pseudo directed over him, but definitely was heavily involved in the process all the way down. The same way George Lucas didn't direct Star Wars 5 and 6, but we still kind of like credit those as George Lucas's films. That's how Battle Angel Alita is to James Cameron. And it is the best live action anime adaptation there's been. Like no other one has ever got close to how bombastic this is. As I was saying, when you're on LSD, not only is, yeah, it's a little melodramatic and over the top, but that hits just right for me because I like a little like overly expressive emotions when I'm tripping balls. You feel it deeper in a way. It kind of is like watching a live action anime. LSD already kind of gives you the effect that Alita's eyes look sometimes. Like that's the closest to visuals I typically get on this dose, where like the eyes will be really big. So you kind of get used to it and it kind of like starts to work with your trip, which is a weird thing to say, but like pretty soon she like blends in and it almost like matches the vibe. Plus, it is a very vibrant movie. For being cyberpunk, most cyberpunk is very like dark with a lot of neon lights, which also looks good. They're equally good. But something about the daytime vibrantness and the bright lights of Alita really hits different. So this might be a weird one, but I really can't recommend it enough. It's so cool. It's such a fun trip watch. And I would kind of watch it in the middle, honestly. I would watch them in this order. Right when you're starting to feel it, I would watch Ran, which is one of the longer ones. They're all kind of long, but I don't know how long other people trip, but for me, it's normally like a 6-hour affair. Or no, I would say closer to an 8-hour affair. So I think it's fair to like, you could fit all three of these. I would almost start off with Ran, so the trip kind of hits like halfway through, it really starts. And then you're watching Alita and your peak would hit about halfway through, and then finish it off with my third choice. And moving on to my third choice, which I think is the absolute best looking movie you can watch on LSD. Hands down, every single shot. It might not look like a painting like Ran or be as vibrant. No, it is just as vibrant and bombastic in a different way as Alita though. And that is Martin Scorsese's masterpiece, Casino. This movie, I don't care what anyone says, was made for LSD. The sets on it alone are mind-blowing. The shots, even the transition shots are so vibrant, are so bright, are so powerful. This movie really will blow your mind. For those that aren't aware, Casino is, I wouldn't say it is one of Scorsese's gangster films, but not quite in the same way. it follows De Niro, who plays a bookie who the mob ends up entrusting with an entire casino that they put a bunch of money in, so he can kind of like keep a constant flow of money going back to them to make their investment worth it. But like he takes a lot of pride in running his casino. He loves it. The mob also sends Joe Pesci out to Vegas to like watch his back, and Joe Pesci is a fucking psychopath in this movie, but he is so entertaining. He's even more crazy in this movie than his character in Goodfellas, like hands down. But it is so fucking entertaining. Oh, he's so fucking funny in this one. I even thinking about some of these lines that I definitely can't repeat, I'm cracking up. But essentially, this movie is kind of like a rise and fall of Sam Rothstein. Well, not really his fault. We see his rise kind of quick, and we see his fall is all because of BPD pussy. He gets some BPD pussy in his life that doesn't even love him and just crashes out every aspect of his life over her. And I will say, Sharon Stone, who plays Ginger, the woman who ends up becoming his wife, she kills it. She plays one of the most hateable characters I've ever seen. And like, you might be thinking like, I don't know if I want to watch like a series. It's not really, it is serious. There's a lot of levity in it, which keeps it light. But the visuals through every part of this movie are so vibrant. Being on LSD, it feels like you're in the casino itself. I mean, I've never, nor do I think I could handle doing LSD and going out to a casino. I'm sure it would be magical, but I would lose every penny I have. I can't go to casinos. I have gambling issues. It feels like you are right there in the casino when watching this one. You can feel the tension and the like emotions as well throughout every scene in this movie on such a deep level. Scorsese, this is Scorsese's magnum. I don't know. That's a hard one to say. I want to say this is his best film. I like The Departed better. It's my favorite film and my second favorite film and my favorite Scorsese. But I do gotta say, Casino's the better film. This is Scorsese at his absolute best. So of course, watching a masterpiece on the world's most like senses heightening substance. Well, not the most, but one of them. It's up there. Everything from the sound design to the cinematography is absolutely breathtaking when watching this film. I'm just kind of showing some shots from it. I don't know if these will be allowed or get banned. And I know this video is a little different than normal because I didn't really go into plot for these. These are more just some suggestions. But I highly, highly recommend not only any of these movies. So like, even if you only watch one, check out one. And I would, if you're only going to watch one, pick Casino. But all three of these are truly, truly just incredible watches that I couldn't recommend enough. And I would do it in this order. Outside of that, I also, just for some honorary mentions, there's some that are like, yeah, more talked about that are totally worth watching. For instance, the second Spider-Verse movie, the one where like it's got different frame rates on screen at the same time. One of the craziest things I've ever seen. I also like definitely cried at scenes. Probably when like Gwen was having her very like breakdown scene near the end and everything turned tranny colors. It definitely hit me emotionally. But that one I would highly recommend. Also, like I said earlier, Akira and Ghost in the Shell. But even more than them, Redline, the animated film. Probably one of the best experiences. Literally anything by Miyazaki. And like, I mean, well, okay, maybe not anything. Maybe not Grave of the Fireflies. Definitely not that one. Yeah, definitely not that one. That would ruin the mood more than anything. But two more highly, highly recommendations I have, just as honorary mentions, is Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters. It kind of sucks to have to read, if I'm being honest. It can be difficult, but totally worth it. And Dragon Ball Super Broly. Incredible. Like, one, Frieza is actually kind of terrifying when you're on LSD. They're truly scary. But the fight in this one between Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta and Broly is like, it will actually melt your brain. Like, the amount of colors on the screen and the vibrancy of them it kind of melts your brain. It's amazing. So, yeah, those are my 3 favorite films that I've seen on LSD. I really can't recommend them enough. Like, if you watch any of them, you're in for such a good time. But I would personally recommend just making an entire trip out of it. Get yourself some snacks and just sit down and for like 9 hours straight, watch all 3 of them tripping balls, and you will have an awesome trip. Like, I cannot recommend these enough and promise how good your trip will be watching them. You will be so fully engrossed, you'll wonder why you ever did anything else tripping besides watching movies. But anyways, so yeah, I'll probably make some more of these because like I said, I've seen at least like 50 plus movies or so on LSD. I've seen my fair share. So I'm going to make a couple more of these in the future. Anyways, if you've watched this far, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day and be safe.